Hey everybody, welcome back. Today we're going to be finding out if our Ninja professional food processor can hang with our Ninja Foodi Power Blender when it comes to making nut butters. To make things a little bit more difficult, we're also going to try to do them with no oil. So you ready? Let's get into this. In addition to doing these with and without oil, we're using 3 different kinds of nuts. For our soft nut, we'll be using cashews. We'll use dry roasted peanuts for the medium. And the hardest ones we'll be using are roasted almonds. And before you say it down in the comments, yes, I know, cashews and peanuts aren't really nuts. For the food processor, we're just using our regular pitcher because really that's the only choice you got on this. And for the Ninja Foodi Power Blender, we're going to be using the smoothie bowl attachment. The great thing about this attachment is this dial on top. While it's blending, you can turn this around like this, and it will help to keep things from getting stuck to the side of the cup. We'll go ahead and start with the dry roasted peanuts. For each of these tests, we're going to be using 2 cups of nuts, and if we're adding oil, it'll get 2 tablespoons. If we need to run multiple cycles, we'll do that as needed. For the Ninja Foodi Power Blender, we're going to put this on the spread setting, and for the food processor, we'll do puree. So let's go ahead and try this out. Well, after our first round, you can see that the food processor not really looking all that good. So we're just going to go ahead and scrape this down and give it a little bit of help. Part of the problem with this is the fact that this container is really large and these blades aren't quite as fast as they would be with a blender. So I've gone ahead and added a little bit more oil here to the food processor one. And now we're just going to run a few chop cycles instead because it goes a little bit slower. And hopefully that'll smoothen this out a little bit. This dial here has helped keep a lot of that stuff off the sides, but we're gonna go ahead and let this run another cycle also, just because. And this time we'll stick it on the smoothie setting. That way it's gonna pulse it a few times before it goes. Okay, now these are done, we can go ahead and check our results. Okay, let's check out the Foodi Power Blender first. And you can see this looks really nice and smooth here. Now for the food processor, remember, we had to add some more oil in here just to get this to break down, but you can see how much more granule this is. This really isn't all that smooth at all. For our next test, we're using peanuts again, except this time we're not using any oil. Should be pretty interesting to see how this comes out. Again, we're gonna stick to the chop function over here, and we're gonna stick to the smoothie function over here. Well, since we're not using any oil, we're gonna have to open these up and mix these a little bit. Tell you, it's not really looking too good for the food processor here because this is still super granule here. And the blender looks like it might actually be doing a pretty good job, but we shall see. Okay, let's take a look at our dry results, and I'll tell you what, not as good with this food processor at all. That's about what you're getting if you're not using any oil. Now for the results with the Power Blender, this actually isn't too bad. It's a little bit granule, but I'll tell you what, it's a heck of a lot better than I thought it was going to come out. And you don't have all that extra fat and calories from the oil. Okay, now we'll move on to the cashews. In light of what happened in the peanut test, what we're going to do now is we're just going to go ahead and do them dry first, and then we'll just add oil to them later. That way I save you time and I save me nuts. So let's get this rolling. Okay, let's see what we got. Well, we don't really have cashew butter here. What it kind of looks like is more like a cookie dough consistency or something like that. Better than the peanut butter. And really, it is doable. It's good. It's just really thick. But as you can see, it's not super granule like the peanuts were. So, you know, that's actually not too bad. Now for our Ninja Foodi Blender. This is actually pretty similar to the food processor. It's a little smoother though, but definitely this has kind of got that cookie dough thing going on too. But again, pretty good. Let's see what happens if we add a couple of tablespoons of oil to these. Okay, let's check these out again. Okay, that's looking a lot better. So there's our cashew butter from the food processor, way better than it was. This came out really nice and smooth and really only needed about an extra 30 seconds or so once we added that oil in. And back to the Foodi Blender. Yeah, that looks really nice. And it's nice and thick too. All right, last but not least, we have our almonds. Almonds are the hardest of the nuts that we're using, so we're probably gonna have the worst results with this, but we shall find out in just a moment. By the way, if this is your first time here and you want to learn some cool new recipes, get some great cooking tips and tricks and all sorts of other kitchen related things, then start now by subscribing to the channel and clicking the notification bell so you never miss a thing. Okay, let's take a look at the almond butter here in the food processor. You see that's kind of the worst one of the three. This is almost like a granola bar or something like that. It's still pretty dry and really blocky and granule. So not too good there. Now back over to the Foodi blender again. I'll tell you what, this Ninja Foodi blender is doing a pretty good job on this. That's really not bad at all, starting with dry almonds. I mean, it's pretty smooth. Okay, we'll go ahead and add our oil again, just to see if we can fix this. And then we can go ahead and try this one last time. All right, let's see what we got now. The food processor benefited from the oil. I would just call that okay. Nowhere near as bad as that was, but it's not perfect, that's for sure. Okay, let's check this out again. Oh, that's what I'm talking about. That looks really, really nice and smooth. Well, the results really speak for themselves. And to be honest, I think the Ninja food processor did a lot better job than I was expecting it to. It's got a much larger container and slower blades. And really, stuff like nut butters aren't really the forte for a machine like that. One thing you didn't see in the video though is that the Ninja food processor took about 5 times longer than the Ninja Foodi Power Blender in every single nut butter test. We had to open it and stir it quite a bit. But at the end of the day, as long as you're using a little bit of oil in there, it was still able to make pretty good nut butter all the way around. But in my opinion, if you're going to be doing stuff like this, better get yourself a high-speed blender for those types of tasks. If you want a little bit more info about either one of these machines, we do have Amazon affiliate links down in the description of the video. If you'd like to learn a little bit more about us, you can check out a couple more videos, or you can check us out online at joesphenomenal.com. I thank you so much for taking a little bit of time out of your busy day to watch this video. It really means a lot to me, and I can't wait to see you back again here really soon. So until that time, I'm Joe, and I hope you have a phenomenal day. Take it easy.